Hello everyone, and welcome to today's session on automating literature review for academic research. My name is Dia Trambias. I'm the head of product at Johnson Labs, and I'm very excited to take you through a new key feature of the medical chat. My plan for today is to start with a brief overview of the features already included into the chatbot, and then show you how this tool can also be used to conduct literature reviews. We'll finalize the talk with a short demo on a concrete example, step by step. The medical chatbot released by Johnson Labs was imagined as a medical assistant that understands and replies to a wide range of health-related or medical queries, from very simple questions to more complex conversations and discussions. It provides informative responses that are built on validated data, validated research results. And the chatbot is also able to adapt to different tones and styles and formats according to the user's preferences. For every medical question you ask, it provides real-time, evidence-based, and explainable responses. It offers references to the sources that were used to compile those answers and the sources that are updated on a daily basis. Behind the scene, the chatbot uses a medical knowledge base that is compiled from open access sources such as PubMed, medRxiv, bioRxiv, MDPI, and so on. The list is continuously growing. But it also supports the addition of custom knowledge bases, which are compiled from our users' proprietary documents. Currently, the custom knowledge bases support automatic ingestion of PDF and text documents and can pick up all changes observed on the provided document repository. The custom knowledge bases are adapted to handle large set of documents. But if you simply want to query or summarize or translate a handful of documents or reports or your patient readings, for instance, you can do that with the document QA feature. This allows you to upload up to 10 documents in one session and start chatting about them. Now, if you want to de-identify or extract entities or relations or assertion statuses from your unstructured documents, you can do that with the medical agents. We currently have included around 9 medical agents adapted to different use cases. Now, how does it all work? Well, the chatbot is built using a RAG architecture, so it combines information retrieval and text generation. It uses proprietary LLMs built by Johnson Labs and tuned for the medical domain in combination with a medical research knowledge base and custom knowledge bases defined by the users. Now, the LLMs used by the chatbot have state-of-the-art accuracy that was measured on the benchmarks used by Open Medical LLM leaderboard, and the results show that it's surpassing other high-performance models such as PaLM2, MedPaLM2, GPT-4, Llama-3, Actimel. For more details on this, you can check the evaluation details on the link that I added to this presentation, or check the talk gave by my colleague Veysel Kocaman on the second day of the summit. Now, as part of the chatbot development, we built a comprehensive medical research knowledge base that indexes some of the most important medical publication databases. This is currently mainly exploitable via the chat UI, where users can ask questions and then receive responses with citations from relevant published articles. But the response context in this scenario is limited to maximum 20 references. But how about if a user wants to check and access every single publication on a given subject? In other words, what if a user wants to run a literature review? A literature review is an analysis and synthesis of existing research and publication on a particular topic or field of study. It involves examining the current knowledge and findings to identify trends, gaps, and to identify key themes. In academic and professional settings, usually the literature review precedes the original research, and it helps to frame the research question within the context of what we already know. Now, conducting a literature review can be a complex and time-consuming process with a lot of challenges on the way. So first of all, it requires significant time and effort, from a few weeks to several months or even more for broader or complex topics. It usually requires a highly experienced team of researchers to collaborate on identifying the relevant sources, extracting key information, or synthesizing the findings. The team is often flooded by the vast amount of research available. It can be overwhelming to process and synthesize all that information into a coherent report. Also, the research fields nowadays evolve very rapidly, so researchers need to ensure that the review includes the most recent publication. So when you think you are done, something new comes up and you have to pick it up. It's also important to present a balanced view of the field, which means include studies which have conflicting results and avoid cherry-picking sources that only support a particular viewpoint, and this can sometimes be very hard to resist. Finally, critical analysis is a must in this type of endeavor. So the researcher needs to go beyond just summarizing the current research and instead provide insightful data, analyze the data, and present the results in a logical and critical way. So in conclusion, conducting a literature review requires balancing a range of tasks, from managing information overload, ensuring a critical and unbiased synthesis of available literature, and overcoming those challenges requires careful planning, the use of a lot of tools, combining those tools, have a clear methodological approach to searching, evaluating, synthesizing research. Now, running this type of literature review involves following a process, a very structured process to ensure a thorough examination of everything that exists. So you have a couple of steps that you need to follow. So first of all, you need to define the research topic or question or hypothesis that you want to study. Then you have to set the scope of your review. Will you cover a specific period or geographical region or some sort of methodology or theoretical framework, so on. Then you have to pick which academic databases you want to use to running the search. So what are the sources that you want to analyze? Then what are the keywords which are relevant to your topic? Put them together, as well as the inclusion and exclusion criteria that you will be using to filter the sources and pick what is relevant, what is not. Then you have to evaluate and select the relevant references. So you need to assess the quality, credibility, relevance for each source and for each paper, and organize them in some sort of reference manager tool, so that you are able to keep track of the ones that you have analyzed so far and of those that you need to analyze next. Then you have to read it through, read everything which is out there, maybe create short summaries, identify the themes, the findings in each one of those relevant articles. Then you have to organize data and in order to be able to draw some conclusion. So you have to structure it and maybe in a table, normalize the data, and then be able to analyze it. Only as the sixth step is the actual writing of the literature review. Now, what we have observed is that the large language models have the potential to assist scientists with retrieving, synthesizing, summarizing the literature, extracting data points, structuring everything into a table. So concretely, we can currently automate the first 4-5 steps of the review with the medical chat. The automatic literature review feature proposed by the chatbot requires users to first set the scene for the analysis by picking the knowledge bases to target and enter a combination of search keywords. This will instantly provide a list of relevant references so that you can already start navigating between them and see if you need to refine the keywords or not. Step 2 is defining the data that you want to extract in plain English from each one of those papers. Step 3 is defining the inclusion and exclusion criteria, also in English as a natural sentence that defines what you want to include, what you want to exclude from your analysis. Step 4 is picking or defining the final filters in terms of publication type, impact factor, or time period that you want to consider for your analysis. Then, with a click of a button, the chatbot starts analyzing the literature for you. So in step 1, you pick the knowledge bases that you want to target and enter the keywords. And in the right side, you will right away see the feedback from the chatbot, like the list of relevant studies, which include the keywords that you have selected. On step 2, you define the keyword, the data points that you want to extract. So explain in simple words in English what you are interested in for all those relevant stuff. In step 3, you just specify inclusion and exclusion criteria, like studies which are validated in vitro, for instance, or I don't want to include in my analysis technical reports on materials without in vivo experiments. Those are examples of how to define inclusion and exclusion criteria in plain English using prompting. Finally, you can filter based on the publication date or impact factor or type of article. This will automatically reflect on the list of the relevant studies. Once you've done that, you are ready to run. Click the Run Literature Review button. And then observe how your list of results will be populated on the fly. Okay, so now let's see a concrete example of a literature review. So you go to the Literature Review tab and you start putting in information about your information for your literature review. So in this case, I want to run a literature review related to tissue regeneration. So I'm interested in all types of scaffolds which are available and which have been tested in vivo for healing bone defects. So I put in my keywords, I select the target knowledge bases, and I right away see that I have 1,600 articles which are relevant. Then I go on and explain what data I want to extract, like the material used for the scaffold, the improvements which were proposed by the study, implementation period, if there is in vivo experimentation, I want to know for how long of a period it was done, what type of bone defect it considered, and so on. Then I define the inclusion and exclusion criteria that needs to be validated by the chat. Okay, so I'm interested in vivo studies, don't care about review papers, and studies for less than 4 weeks. Then I pick the date range to use, the minimum impact factor, and I see that I end up with a list of 271 articles. Now I start the analysis and my table begins to be populated. Now each row for this results table will be color coded. So the white ones means that the LLM did not find, or the chatbot did not find enough information to decide whether to include this study in the review or not. So it does not know. You have to analyze this further. The ones which are in red are excluded by one of the criteria that I included, that I defined previously. The studies or the rows which are in green are included in the analysis because they contain all necessary data to be included, or they passed the inclusion filter that I defined. Now, during the time this table is populated by the chatbot, you can check the details for each one of the extractions. So if you do mouse over the extraction, the chatbot will provide you with the reasoning why this filter, for instance, was validated or invalidated, or the reason why this data point was extracted. What's the evidence, right? Some sort of evidence from the original paper that conducted the chatbot to decide on a certain value or another. So during this processing time, you can navigate between the different phases, different steps of the analysis, and you can at all times stop the analysis if you see that the data points that you defined don't provide any responses or any data. Then you have to go back and change the prompt and change the explanation for the data point for inclusion and exclusion criteria. If, for instance, you see that everything is eliminated, that means that probably the filter that you added is too restrictive, right? So then you have to edit that and rerun the analysis from scratch. Okay, so one other thing, once you have stopped an analysis, we will keep track of all the obtained results, right? So now the analysis is completed. You can download a CSV or an Excel file with all the results. So this file will include the metadata about the paper, will include the summary of the paper, or a link to PubMed, to the original source, and also all the extracted data points together with the evidence. Also, all include the values for the inclusion and exclusion criteria together with the evidence, right? So you can process this in Excel, do whatever type of filtering and analysis that you want in order to identify relevant sources for your literature review, and then aggregate or analyze the data. Now, currently there is some normalization effort that you need to put into this because data is extracted as it appears in the paper. Sometimes the measuring units are different from one paper to another, the period is different, so you need to normalize this data before being able to draw any significant conclusion. So once the analysis or the processing for the literature review is finalized, and assuming that you want to do a second run in a couple of weeks' time just to pick up the new research results, or you want to edit something to that literature review or experiment, or for further experiments, you can clone the literature review, and this will create a new instance of the literature review with all the parameters also already filled in. So you can just, you don't have to start from scratch and start defining every step of the process, but you can just edit the one that you have already run in the past. So those literature review versions you can rename, you can keep track of them in your history of conversations, you can bookmark them in order to go back and check them in a couple of whenever necessary. Okay, so the entire analysis for those 271 documents took 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, imagine the speed increase from the weeks and months of reading and compiling research data. Now, with this approach, you can have a high-level overview of any research topic in a matter of minutes. Of course, there is some efforts, as I mentioned before, about normalization or actually writing the paper. But we have interesting progress towards supporting those two elements as well. So expect to see them in the next release of the chatbot. The chatbot comes with two offerings. First, we have the professional version, which is offered as a SaaS subscription. It allows interacting with our proprietary LLM from your browser and get access to daily updated medical knowledge. It offers support for medical conversation, literature review, document Q&A, medical agents, smart ranking of references. That means that references are intelligently ranked to ensure the most relevant information is prioritized when responding to user questions. It also includes safeguards and a system to prevent hallucination and ensure explainability of the responses. It also allows users to adapt the communicative style to match the desired tone of voice or style of the organization. It allows bookmarking questions, responses, have a conversation history, so that you can go back to your previous runs of medical research or DocUA or previous conversations. The enterprise version includes all the features of the professional version plus on-premise deployments where the chatbot can be installed and run on the organization's own servers for an enhanced security and an enhanced privacy and control. Now, the system is built to scale and to accommodate a growing number of documents and interactions very smoothly. In enterprise settings, users can create and use an unlimited number of knowledge bases and manage unlimited number of users and groups. For enterprise deployments, we support custom brand voice and safeguards, which facilitate tailored communication style and additional safeguards may be specific to the brand. Single sign-on is also included, as well as API access. This will give developers the ability to interact with the chatbot's features through an API, right, included into maybe broader processing workflows. The medical chatbot is available, the SaaS version is available online at chat.johnsonlabs.com. We invite you to sign in and start using it, and we offer 7-day free trials for all users, and all features of the professional offer are available without restriction during the trial period. So start using it, subscribe now, and then let us know what your feedback is. Test the literature review feature, and if you have any questions, let me know. You can contact me via LinkedIn or email or on our Slack channel. With that, I thank you all for joining me today, and I welcome all feedback and questions via